Tonight's City Council meeting. We appreciate you being here with us tonight. We'll go ahead and get started. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Adamson.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Cheatham.
Here.
Johnston. Lurk.
Here.
Manon.
Here.
Black.
Here. We'll have an invocation. Will be offered by Reverend Jim Jones of Blazing Grace Church. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go ahead and have a Pledge of Allegiance. First, I don't see Reverend Jones here, so we will have a Pledge of Allegiance, after which, if you would please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 3 is a consent agenda. The following business items may be approved by one motion and a vote. If any member of the council so desires, any matter listed can be moved to a separate agenda item. A, minutes. Council may wish to waive the oral reading of the minutes and approve the minutes from October 11, 2018 work session. The City Council Liaison Work Session, Clarification Meeting, Executive Session, Clarification Meeting, and Regular City Council Meeting held on October 18, 2018. B, Payroll and Material Claims. Council may wish to consider the payroll and material claims for the month of October 2018. Good evening, Joyce.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Joyce Stroshine, Chief Financial Officer for the City. Tonight I'm presenting the Payroll and Material Claims Report for the month of October. Payroll and material claims totaled $7,142,995. Payroll-related claims, $3,508,340. We had changes in filled positions of an increase of 9 filled positions in the full-time status, a decrease of 2 in the half-time status, a decrease of 14 in the part-time status, and a decrease of 1 in the seasonal status, for an overall decrease of 8 positions. Vendor claims totaled $3,634,654. Large vendor claims. I've highlighted 4 specific large vendor claims for the month. Construction Services Incorporated, $488,752. This is for the Street and Sanitation Department. It is for the renovation of the Garrett Way building. PNC Equipment Finance, $203,343. This is the Fire Department. This is the principal and interest payment number 1 for their 3 pumper trucks. iCrimp, $339,678. Liability insurance, this is the 50% of the annual policy premium. And Harper Construction, $135,848. This is the transit department for the 7th and Sherman bus stop project. This report explains 88.38% of all vendor claims for the month. On the back of the report, I present to you the September purchase card activity. We had 1,346 transactions for the month, totaling $526,360, and we had 172 cardholders use their card. 10 purchase agents had monthly totals greater than $10,000, and the types of expenditures are listed for your review. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Joyce?
The pumper truck payment, is that an annual payment?
It is an annual payment.
Okay.
Any other questions for Joyce? Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Move to C, Human Relations Advisory Committee appointment. Council may wish to confirm the mayor's appointment of Rituraj Yadav to serve as a member of the Human Relations Advisory Committee, replacing Virgin Arambari, whose term expired. Mr. Yadav's term will begin November 2, 2018 and will expire November 2, 2022. D, Planning and Zoning Commission appointment. Council may wish to confirm the mayor's appointment of Dorothy Ricks to serve as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, replacing Bill Stratton, who resigned. Ms. Ricks' term will begin November 2nd, 2018, and will expire April 17, 2019. E, council decision, Lilac subdivision final plat. Council may wish to adopt this decision approving the final plat for Lilac subdivision, which subdivides approximately 2.99 acres of land into 13 lots, 12 residential and 1 dedicated to storm water retention, subject to conditions. The property is located east of Lilac Street. F, council decision, Juniper Reserve Division 2 final plat. Council may wish to adopt this decision approving a final plat for Juniper Reserve Division 2, which subdivides approximately 6.15 acres of land into 11 lots, 10 single-family residential and 1 dedicated stormwater retention, subject to conditions. This property is located east of Juniper Reserve Division 1.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Bray.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion by Bray and a second by Cheatham. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Gray.
Yes.
Cheatham.
Yes.
Adamson.
Yes.
Lurick.
Yes.
Manon.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 4 is communication and proclamations. We do not have any proclamations. However, I see a number of scouts out there, and I want one of you to stand up. Who's in charge over there? You're it. You're up. Get up. Just interested in what troop you're in and where you're from.
We're Troop 334. We're from Pocatello.
From Pocatello? Perfect. Thank you very much for being here. Any others behind you? Are you,
With them.
you're with them? You don't like them that much, that's why you sat over there?
Well, I thought I'd say
I know, I'm just kidding. Give you a hard time. All right. You students don't think you're getting away with anything here, so we're going to start over here. Are you a student? I want you to stand up and tell me where you're from. Please.
I'm Franklin Middle School. Here.
From where?
Franklin Middle School.
Franklin Middle School. Thank you very much.
Landon Regan. I'm from Highlands.
Really?
Yeah.
Looked like a pokey outfit for a minute. Let's go along that back row. All right, let's move up here.
I'm Rebecca Robson from Franklin Middle School.
Franklin Middle School, cool. All right, that back row again, it looks like I've either got a scout or a student.
Scout.
Scout, well, jump up and tell us where you're from. What troop you're in.
I'm in Troop 328 in the Highland area.
In the Highland area, perfect. Thank you for being with us. All right, I know I got some students here because y'all have paper and you're taking notes, so let's just start right there on the end.
I'm Addison. I'm from Franklin Middle School.
See, y'all over here on this side from Madison, you hear how she spoke and made sure we understood where she was from? All right.
I'm Tambry Bell, and I'm also from Franklin Middle School for student leadership. I'm Avia Butler, and I'm also from Franklin Middle School for student leadership.
Cool. You're it. You're with her? All right. It's nice of you to bring your classmate with you just because. All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to agenda item number 5, is a calendar review. Council may wish to take this opportunity to inform other council members of upcoming meetings and events that should be called to their attention. On November 8 at 9 a.m. is a work session. On November 15 at 3 p.m., a City Council Liaison Work Session Clarification Meeting. On November 15 at 5:30 p.m., Clarification Meeting. On November 15 at 6 p.m., Regular Council Meeting. Other events, November 12, city offices will be closed to observe Veterans Day. However, garbage and recycle pickups will remain on their regularly scheduled days. A reminder, Election Day is November 6. Annual leaf collection, November 5 through November 30th. Leaves must be placed in compostable bags, not boxes or plastic bags. Leaves will be picked up on a regular collection day. Good luck to Idaho State University football and local high school football teams. And we would just like you to also know that the National Christmas Tree will be coming through Pocatello on November 16 at 9 a.m. It will be in front of City Hall, right out here in front of City Hall at 9 a.m. on November 16. Okay. We will move on to agenda item number 6. It is short plat Sunnybrook subdivision. Thomas Dehart of Sunnybrook Courts MHP LLC, represented by Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying, has submitted a short plat application to subdivide 0.19 acres into one lot. The subdivision is to be known as Sunnybrook subdivision and is located at 911 Samuel Street in a residential medium-density single-family zoning district. Councilwoman Adamson.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the request with the conditions.
Second.
We have a motion by Adamson and a second by Lyric. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Adamson.
Yes.
Lurick.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Cheatham.
Yes.
Manon.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7, request for public hearing, Hymas. The council may wish to consider a request by Natalie Hymas, to Pocatello resident, to hold a public hearing on the Stratton Estates subdivision application, Municipal Code 16.20.040E, states pursuant to section 67-6521 Idaho Code, any affected person may, at any time prior to the final action of a subdivision application, if no public hearing has been held, petition the city council in writing to hold a public hearing. Who do we start with? We've never seen this before. Who do I need to
I
start
would
with?
start with staff and then
Staff.
allow the petitioner to speak.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Carl Anderson, and I'm a planner with the City of Pocatello. Before you for consideration is a request for public hearing on the proposed Stratton Estates Division 1 subdivision application submitted by Natty Hymas, pursuant to City Code 16.20.040E and Section 67-6521 of Idaho Code. Any affected person may at any time prior to final action on a subdivision application, if no public hearing has been held, petition the City Council in writing to hold a public hearing pursuant to Section 67-6512 of Idaho Code. The preliminary plat application was submitted by Derek Leslie of Homes West, Inc., and represented by Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the preliminary plat of Stratton Estates Division 1 at the regularly scheduled meeting held on September 26, 2018, at which time the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the preliminary plat application with the conditions listed in the staff report. Should the public hearing be held, all noticing requirements pursuant to Idaho Code shall be met. Staff estimates that the cost, which is determined by the legal description of the property for publication, would be $100 more or less, and the cost for the neighbor notice would be $1.50 per address for property owners within 300 feet of the subdivision boundary. Should the council choose to grant the public hearing request on the subject subdivision application, a public hearing will be scheduled before the council to review the preliminary plat application. Staff recommends the condition be added. The affected person requesting a public hearing on the Stratton Estates Division 1 shall pay the cost associated with noticing requirements for the public hearing. This concludes my presentation, and I will be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Any questions for Carl?
Were there any issues at all that came up with the original request?
The staff recommended approval of the application, finding that it met the criteria of the preliminary plat application, assuming the conditions listed in the staff report. So,
Okay. Do you have a list of what those conditions were, Carl?
I do. So there were 5 conditions. All conditions submitted by the Public Works Department, Public Department representatives, as noted in Exhibit 1, which is attached to the staff report, shall be adhered to. A building permit may not be issued unless all applicable standards of City Code 16.24.100 are adhered to, or a subdivision surety bond and warranty bond is obtained, as outlined by City Code 16.24.110 prior to recording. The third condition, the easement lines separating the townhouse dwelling units shall be designated as lot lines at the time of the final plat submittal, in order that the proposed townhomes may be sold separately. The fourth condition, the proposed stormwater retention pond shall be designated as a lot at the time of the final plat submittal. And 5, all other standards or conditions of municipal code not herein stated but applicable to the land subdivision and residential development shall apply.
Any other questions for Carl? Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hymas? Would you come on up here, please?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Natty Jaimes.
So you're requesting this, we just need to know what your thought process there is.
Okay. My main concern is the safety of the area. There are no stop signs in our neighborhood, and there are no crosswalks across Quinn to OK Ward Park, and just the four-way stop at Quinn and Hawthorne. With all the buildup in that area with the Sunnybrook subdivision, there's some apartments. They're off of Quinn, and they're kind of behind in a little tucked-in lot. And they're going up there, and there's a lot of growth in that area, but the four-way stop at Quinn and Hawthorne, I mean, it's just getting more and more congested, and there are no sidewalks down Hawthorne, or parts of Quinn are left without sidewalks. There are lots of bus stops in that area, and the concern is just that we're adding more housing in that area without addressing those other concerns. And maybe they're being addressed, I just, don't know.
Questions? So I have a question. Is this south of the four-way stop or north of the four-way stop, this location?
South and west.
Yeah,
Okay,
southwest. So if you're heading...
Southwest is where it is. Okay.
And the natural process of getting out there would be out to like the interstate would be to go through that four-way stop. And then also if there is any construction or shutdown of that four-way stop, the traffic would most likely be diverted onto Northern Lights to go around for Hawthorne traffic.
Okay. Those apartments or those buildings being built, are they north? They're north
So
of the...
one of those is north towards the interstate, and the other one is more southeast. It's kind of tucked behind.
Okay, yeah, tucked behind there. Okay. 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 Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Rebuttal.
Would it be appropriate to have a staff member comment on the intersection of Quinn and Hawthorne?
If you'd like to, we can definitely
and
call
address
it.
some of those concerns that, so that,
And the sidewalks and stop sign.
yeah.
Sure. Who would you like to talk to?
Looks like Meryl would like to talk to us.
Meryl's begging to get up in front of the cameras.
Get him on camera.
Merrill Quell, Development Public Works Engineer for the City of Pocatello.
Could you speak to the
intersection.
yeah.
I can tell you right now that it's been designed, and I'll try to remember the dates. I think 2019 next year, 2019, we will be working with the utilities, getting the utilities taken care of. In 2020, we'll finish the property acquisition. And right now, the schedule and the reconstruction of that intersection is 2023, from memory. I hope those dates are correct. So that's what's planned for the intersection of Quinn and Hawthorne.
Are there any plans to add sidewalks or additional stop signs in the area that she was talking about?
There has not been any plans or discussions concerning those items at this time. We can look at it. A lot of your uncontrolled intersections are the 25-mile-an-hour residential and that, but we could take a look at that and drive through there and that and reevaluate if council desires.
Any plans for crosswalks?
there is not any plans at this time for any crosswalks.
I think it would be a good idea to reevaluate that. I think, because I use that route quite a bit too, and I know it is pretty congested.
Okay.
But
I will coordinate with traffic, and we will take a look at that and go through those subdivisions and that, and reevaluate and see if there's anything that we could do, or any codes that we need to look at, something that we may have missed in the past.
Any other questions?
Well, I just had a comment. One of the things that I have learned since being on the city council is that sometimes stop signs actually can create more of a traffic hazard than solve the problem. So I think, it's important for us to evaluate that, but just putting up a stop sign sometimes, then people start to expect that others will stop, and maybe it's better to not have stop signs in some instances. So.
That is correct. We will use the most current edition of the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and we'll look at that, which is a federal guideline. And then we will also try to use what they classify as engineering judgment at that point, and we'll reevaluate that.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Mara.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Okay, Council.
based on the desperate need we have in Pocatello for housing, and the fact that this has already been considered by planning and zoning, they've already considered the relevant criteria and felt we should move on it, I move to deny the request for a hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Cheatham and a second by Adamson. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Cheatham,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Bray,
Yes.
Lurick,
Yes.
Manon.
yes.
Okay, thank you. The request fails. Yeah. We will move to agenda item 8, Background Investigations Bureau Subscriber Agreement, Human Resources. Council may wish to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a subscriber agreement with Background Investigation Bureau, BIB, to complete criminal background screenings for all new hires, new volunteers, and youth sports coaches as discussed at the September 13, 2018 work session. BIB will charge the city $11.95 for one name screening and $16.95 for AKA screenings. Funds are available in Human Resource Fiscal Year 2019 budget. Councilman Bray?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the Background Investigation Bureau subscriber agreement.
Second?
We have a motion by Bray and a second by Lurick. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Bray,
Yes.
Lurick,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Cheatham,
Yes.
Manon.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 9, declaration of surplus water tank and demolition contract request. Council may wish to consider the following staff recommendations regarding the demolition and removal of a 150,000-gallon still water storage tank at the Pocatello Regional Airport. A, declare the 150-gallon still water storage tank at the Pocatello Regional Airport as surplus property, and B, authorize the mayor to sign and execute a contract between Pacific Still and Recycling and the City of Pocatello in the amount of $1,865 for demolition and removal of the storage tank. Funds are available in the Water Department's fiscal year 2019 budget.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Bray.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we declare the still storage tank surplus property, and that we authorize mayor to sign and execute the contract with Pacific Steel and Recycling.
Second.
We have a motion by Bray and a second by Manon. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Bray,
Yes.
Manon,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Cheatham,
Yes.
Lurick,
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 10, discussion items. This time has been set aside to hear discussion items not listed on the agenda. Items which appear somewhere else on the agenda will not be discussed at this time. The council is not allowed to take any official action at this meeting on matters brought forward under this agenda item. Items will either be referred to the appropriate staff or scheduled on a subsequent agenda. You must sign in at the start of the meeting in order to be recognized. As a reminder, there is 15 minutes total for this agenda item, 3 minutes per person. We'll go ahead and get started. Andy Moldenhauer.
Mayor and Council, Andy Moldenhauer, Pocatello Firefighters, Local 187. I just wanted to get up here and speak a little bit more about Operation Warm. I spoke with you guys about this at our quarterly meeting just briefly, but we will be, on November 7th, we'll be kicking it off. It'll be at the Lincoln Center at 10:30, and we will be passing out coats to kids that need them in town. We've partnered with the school district, and we will be doing other schools as the month goes on. We're going to be giving out about 300 coats this year, and I also wanted to put out a little thank you for the businesses that have partnered with us on this. That's Portneuf Medical Center Auxiliary, ICCU, Sugarbugs Dental, and Citizens Community Bank have all donated money to help us be able to purchase these coats. So, and I'd like to invite all you guys to attend.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to Mike Seibert.
Mayor and Council, Mike Seibert, 1665 Pocatello Creek Road. And if you remember back in the year, about year 2000, 2001, we had a Pocatello Creek Road project. It rebuilt the road from Olympus to Satterfield and Booth Road. And they essentially dug the road down about 3 or 4 feet, replaced the water line taps going north on an old 6-inch line. This goes along Pocatello Creek Road. And the 6-inch line is not even up to city standards for minimum sizes. Instead of replacing it, they just retained it in place. And we were looking at doing a building project on the east side towards Eda House School, putting in about a 30,000 square foot Class A building. In relation to doing that, we tested the fire flow rate on that 6-inch line, and it failed to meet standards. Therefore, we couldn't build a building and meet fire code. And so the only thing you could do is actually replace the water line from the old Bench Road to Olympus, tear up, go all the way through the Olympus intersection, all the way down Pocatello Creek Road, and raise havoc. So we got with the water department and engineering department, and they have agreed to let us build a water line around the south side of the red line, intercept the 12-inch line, bring it around the south side, bring it through the golf park and over to the east side, then come back into Pocatello Creek Road to meet the fire code for the flow rates. Now, this is an infill project. The city should actually be providing adequate utility service to infill projects. We, as a developer, shouldn't be having to reinforce city utilities inside the city of Pocatello city limits to meet existing requirements for property in the current zoning status. And we're looking at maybe even reducing the size of the project into smaller buildings. If that's the case, then we can meet fire code there. But if we end up doing a bigger project and have to build that water line through there, it'll cost about $200,000, and I'll be looking for reimbursement from the city on that. So I just kind of bring you up to where we're at. It's a little different issue. I think you kind of stepped over the boundary earlier on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. With that, we have no more on the list, so we'll go ahead and adjourn. Thank the city council for your work today, and we are adjourned.